All right. Okay. Please, I would appreciate if you guys can drop a message. If you can hear my voice, please, I would appreciate if you can drop a message. All right. Can anyone hear my voice? If you can hear my voice, I will appreciate if you can drop a message. Okay, okay, cool. Murphy Ezimadu, I can see your message. Um, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm happy. My voice is loud and clear. I'm sorry for what happened and my last video. I noticed the sound was bad, and that's the reason why I did not put the video up for you guys to watch. Okay, so let's dive into today's training. So I'm not going to waste time on this. I just want you guys to see my steps, and I'm going to share my tips with you. But before I, go into the tutorial, allow me to introduce myself. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Ekeade Adetunji, and I am the founder of Ceasar Graphix and Ceasar Graphix Academy. All right, so today we have this Kids Festival flyer design that I'm asked to design. All right, and it's for a client though, and that's the reason why you guys are not going to see the exercise file in the description section of this video. The idea of me doing this for you guys is so you guys can see my steps and know how you can apply what you learned from my tutorial to your next project. I'm talking of when you're asked to work on projects that are similar to what I'm about to work on. All right. Okay, so I already have the frame size of the project here. So for those of you that care to know, the frame size of this project is 720 by 900. And the reason why I'm using this frame size now is because this project is for social media. And I'm going to go straight into the design. Okay, yeah. So I need to quickly let you guys know this because it won't make sense if you guys are looking at my moves and you don't really understand why I'm making those moves. All right. Now, like I always say to you guys, before you work on any design project, try understand the goal, try understand the purpose of the design. All right. And I've taken my time to digest the brief and also ask the necessary questions from the client. So this project is for young people, for kids, and they feel, all right, the look of what this project should give, it's something that show more of a joy, something that show happiness. And part of how we're going to achieve that is how we play with the elements and also the color used on the project. One of the tool I'm going to use, in fact, the most important tool I'm going to use here to draw the attention of the viewer to look at the project is the characters I'm going to use. So I already have those characters here. All right. So I'm using these two. I'm using this kid's picture on the project. So I also have a bouncing castle image. I say castle. It's not castle. It's bouncy house. All right. Or bounce house. All right. I'm going to use. And the idea of me using this is because it will make sense if the background is flat. I told you guys that the project is for young people and we need to really create that look, that, fun on the project. All right. So I'm going to make this real big like that. And I'm going to position this somewhere around here. And I'm going to crop this out with the marquee tool. Excuse me. It should be Control J. All right. So the reason why I decided to crop it out is because I'm going to apply fill blur to this. And I don't want this to slow down my Photoshop application. So I'm going to right click on this and convert this to a smart object. All right. And why I decided to convert it to a smart object is because I'm about to apply a filter to the layer. And it's possible I may not be okay with the radius of the filter. So in order for me not to start all over again, it's better I convert it to a smart object so that I can go back to my last move. All right, so I'll go to I'm on filter now, and I'm going to select blur gallery here and hit the field blur option here. Good. All right, so I'm going to use something not too, let's say, not too much. All right, so the reason why I'm using this radius here now, all right, the reason why I'm using this number, this 15 pixel radius here, is because I know I'm going to be applying text and other images to the project, and I don't want the background to hide those information. All right, like what I always say to you guys, that your background should always serve as the background. All right, so one of the ways you can do it is when you blur it. All right, so I'm going to add a black and white adjustment to this, and I'm going to move this up a bit, and let's see if I move this up also a bit. And the next thing I'm going to do is to add levels. All right, so I'm going to go on the levels here, and I'm going to move from here up like that. This is good. All right, this is good. So I can even move. No, don't move that. So let's just move this a bit more. Okay, yeah. So we have our background sets. Okay, because part of how you can make yourself achieve good design fast is when you start with the background. So the background is what normally shape the layout of the project. All right, I hope somebody get that. Okay, so I'm going to drag the image of my characters now and drop right into the project like that, and this is going to come right here. So when it comes to designing project for young people, it's not always advisable for you to make their pictures black and white. Making it colorful is what's going to spice the project. All right, so I'm going to move this close to this and make this smaller. So I can always use one image, like one of the image of the kids, but the reason why I decided not to do that here is I don't want it to look like, I don't want the project to look like the meeting is for just young people, just for one side side of gender. All right, so that's the reason why I decided to use the two kids. Like I always say to you guys, that we are storytellers, guys. Part of how we tell stories with design is the way we place element, the type of elements we place on our project. So I don't want to create that impression that this is for one gender. All right, so for this level here, I'm still going to make my level more brighter like that, because I know I'm still going to put some stuffs on the project and I need to really make those things visible. All right, yeah, so this is good. So another reason why I decided to make my background this color is because I know I'm going to be playing with too much colors. All right, so in order for me not to hide those colors, it's better I use a color that those any color can work on. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is, all right, so let's go to Adobe Illustrator to design our title. All right, so I'm combining two applications here. Okay, so the title of the project is Fall Festival. So I'm going to copy festival first because festival is longer than fall. So I'm going to select my text tool now, and I'm going to paste this here like that and make this real, big like so. So let's look for a playful type here. All right, type is another a visual that most creatives don't know. Typography are also like pictures. So the type of type you use on your project also matters. Type is another way we make our project point to the right viewers. All right, type is another tool that we use as designers to point our project to the right viewers, and I hope somebody get that. So I'm looking for a playful type that go with young people here. So when you're doing this, guys, please, we're talking of doing design for kids here. Your type should not look too serious. All right, and it must not have sharp corners. Sharp corners. When I say sharp corners, I'm talking of fonts like this. It's not really okay for young people, because if you look at my letter T here, you see the corners are too sharp, and this is not going to help the project. So I'm looking for a type with curved corners. Let's see. I'm gonna be very fast with this. I know some of you are good at knowing names of fonts. I wish you can help me here to call the fonts that you think is best for this project. So guys, you're free to drop your comment if you have anything you want to say, and I'll appreciate if you guys are really having fun watching me do what I'm doing now. All right, doing you dropping your message is one of the ways you encourage me. And if you like what you're watching now, I will appreciate if you can give this uh video a thumbs up. All right, that's one of the ways you can support my channel. And if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be doing more stuff like this with you guys. I started last week and I've been getting good feedbacks from designers. So I believe if you also hit the subscribe button, YouTube will surely notify you when I hit the airwave. All right. So please hit the subscribe button today if you have not. And if you have hit the subscribe button, I want to specially congratulate you, because you are part of my family. All right. You're already part of my family. And yeah. So this is one of the fonts or character that I believe is best for this project. So I'm going to go back again and continue with my search. So if I see another option, I'll stick to that option. All right. So I'm doing this again now for those of you who are always fast with just settling down with just one character. If you see a character that looks successful to you, you just quickly select it and bam, you're good. No, there's this part of you going back, checking if you can see other options that can go well for the project that you are working on. All right. Let's see. Murphy Ezimadu, I see your message. I can see your message. You say it's always a great time seeing you create magic. SOV Olatime. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that message. So I'm still looking for I hope my sound and my voice is clear. Please, guys, if you notice any error, or if you notice any glitch from my end, please kindly let me know so I can quickly fix it before the end of this meeting. Okay. So let's see. I want something more narrow and fat. Should we use this? No. Okay, this is another good one. So let's see if I can get something else again. So we have skater dudes. So I'm going to scroll down again. I'm still searching. Let's see. I know so many of you are not angry with me with what I'm doing now, because I know you are used to this. The only person that will be angry with me with me looking for the right type here is someone who's not into design. If you're a designer, I'm sure you're not going to look at what I'm doing now as me wasting your time, because I'm sure you are already used to us doing this, where you will be looking for the right font to achieve our project. All right, so we have this font here. I would have loved to use this, but this is it's too bold. I mean, like, the space between the letters is too close. I'm talking of, like, for example, this letter S here, this part here is too close. This bottom part here is too close to this side. All right, and it's not going to help what I want to achieve here. So I'm not going to use this. All right, but I like this effect around the letters, so I'm going to apply it to this character that I'm about to use now. So I'm going to make a copy of this. All right, another reason why I like this again is the fact that we have this playful look around the letters, where if you look at my letter F here, it looks as if it's a bit bent. The same thing with my letter A here with the V, I, and so on. And that's the reason why I decided to use this type here. So I'm going to type fall now, which is F-A-L-L. All right, so if I put F like that, good. So then I'm going to move this and position this somewhere here. But right now, my letters are too close here. I'm talking of the letter L here. So I'm going to go under the character tab here. All right. I'm going to select this character menu here, and I'm going to change from okay, let's add space to the tracking like that. That should give us the opportunity to have that space. So guys, I hope you're looking at me now. I want you to know that overlapping your type is not going to help your project. So please avoid making your type overlap. Now, there are times where you can do it, but always have your viewers in mind whenever you're doing this. Okay, your viewers is very, very important. All right, so I'm going to make this a bit bigger like that, and I'm going to rotate it this way. Okay, let's see if I move it this way, and I'm going to convert this to outline because I want to play with the letter. So I'll zoom in, and I'm just going to draw a shape here. You know what, please, whenever you're playing with type in Illustrator, please always make sure the type you're about to play with is on a new layer, because if you don't do that, Illustrator will end up selecting the other letters, which is not part of what you want to do. All right, so I'm going to move this to somewhere here like that, and let's see if this is making sense. Is it making sense? Let's make this visible again and move this to somewhere here, and let's see. Still want to play, people. I still want to play. Remember, the project is to depict that fun. And another thing I'm trying to do here is I'm trying as much not to do something that is going to be difficult for my viewers to read the information on the project. All right, and that's why I'm taking my time to look at my layout here. All right, and that's another thing I want every one of you to learn how to do. Please always put your audience in mind whenever you're playing with type. It's very important. Okay, so for the letter L here, let's see if I take out the letter L. Okay, and if I paste that again here, so I'm going to move this to this layer here and lock this layer, and I'll do the same move on that straight outline, and I'm going to move this up like so. Okay, just like that. Cool. So we have festival fall. Okay, let's see what else can we do again to play with our type here. So if I move this, if I make this smaller, no, it's not going to be okay. Let's see. All right, I think we should just leave it this way because I know I'm still going to add some other stuff to this. All right, so like I said, this is for young people, I mean kids, so we need to really create that fun look here, and I'm going to show you guys how I always do that on my project. So I'm going to change the color of the letters. All right, I'm going to change the colors of the letters. I always like to start with let's start with this color here, and I'll make this orange. Okay, orange, and this should be yellow. You know, you playing with colors this way is one of the ways that you create fun. All right, when you have multiple colors on your title is another way you create fun. All right, now, but please guys, you only do this when the project called for it. If the project did not call for it, please don't try this. All right, now when I say the project called for it, I'm talking of pointing the design, like I said earlier, to the right viewers. All right, pointing the design to the right viewers. All right, so I'm going to move the, I'm going to select this and choose this color. All right, and you know, one of the things I like about Illustrator is the fact that, you know, they already have those beautiful colors that when you put them on your project, they spice it up, you know. and I'm going to use blue again here. Then I'll choose red. I wish I can hear you guys' voice so you can help me by calling those colors. But sorry, I can't. So I just have to do it myself. Let's see, what color can I use again? I know somebody's screaming over there that use this color, use this color. What color can I use? I need your help, guys. What color? What color? What color? Let's see. So somebody's asking what's the name of the font. The character I'm using here is called Skater Dudes. All right, I'm going to type it in the comment section. It's called Skater Dudes. You know, that's one of the advantage of you guys joining me live. All right, so that's the font name there for those of you that care to know. All right, so let's continue with the adding of the color. I'm so sorry about for that. I really want to help that person. Let's see. Let's try another color again. I'm going to choose this color, but I'm going to make this a little bit reddish like that. Good. Okay, and let's see if I pick this color now, and I'm going to make this yellow. Let's make this yellow. And I'm going to make my last color. Let's make this last color this color right here. Good. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to start adding my stroke to the project to give this title a bubble look. All right, so but before I do that, all right, I'm going to make a copy of this. So I'm going to hold down Alt and drag this down. All right, so this is going to be above this. So I'm going to come right here and change the stroke of it. In fact, let's just convert the letters to outline, which is very important. All right, and I'm going to change my stroke color to this blue color here, and I'm going to add more stroke to this like that. And I'll go under my stroke option here and choose this option because I want, you know, the corners to be curvy and not sharp. All right, so then I'm going to let's choose let's make it out like that, and I'm going to reduce the size a bit, just like that. All right, reduce the size a bit, just like that. And let's see, I think it's okay this way, or maybe I should just make it go down a bit. Or this is fine. So I'll right click, sorry, not right click, I'll go to objects and select expand appearance, and I'm going to weld it. All right, so I'll come right here under my Pathfinder tab here. So if you can't find your Pathfinder tab, simply go to Windows and activate Pathfinder here. Yeah, this is it. So I'm going to weld this together. I really want this to be darker. All right, so I'm going to make this really dark because I really want my letters here to pop. All right, so I'm going to put this in a group, and look at this. We need to take out all these white shapes here. All right, so I'm going to double click and hit delete, select, hit delete, select, hit delete, 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 delete. I know you guys can achieve this with Corel Draw. All right, so don't say because I'm using Illustrator now you think, okay, the only application you can use to achieve this is Illustrator. No, you can also use what's it called? You can also use Illustrator to achieve, Corel Draw to achieve this. Okay, so yeah, so this is good. And let's see, what else can we do to spice this up? I'm thinking of drawing bubbles. All right, because you know we need to make this look fun. All right, so I'm going to move this here, make this smaller, position this in here, and change the color to this. All right, and we can make this bigger a bit, like so. Sorry, so I'm trying to make this align like so, so this can come here. All right, like so. Or you know what, guys, don't let us make it balance. All right, you know we're trying to depict play here, so we can just move this to somewhere here. All right, and make this smaller. Make it smaller. This can come here, can put another shape here like that, and we can change the color of this to this color right here. All right, and make it smaller. like that. So the whole idea here is to give it that fun, you know, effects, and like that. So make the same move here, rotate it. All right. In fact, we need to rotate this, you know. So we're trying to defeat that play here. All right. So this can just come up here and we can change the color of this to, let's just use blue. All right. We can use blue there. And for now, let's just stop here. All right. We can add more later, but let's just quickly add, make this have that bubble look. So I'm going to zoom in. All right. So I'm going to show you guys how I always apply the bubble effect to my type. All right. So I'm going to go straight to the brush, or let's just use the pen tool. All right. Oh, okay. Let's use brush. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to use brush now. And now I'm going to act like there's a light effect. All right. There's a light here that is making us have those effects around the bubble. So this light is right here and is making us have those, you know, can I call it specular? Those specular light effect around, you know, the bubble. And yep. So I hope somebody get that. All right. So let's start with the adding of the, so I'll change this to white. All right. I'm going to lock all the layers. Good. So I'm going to zoom in like that. And I'm going to start from here. So I'm just going to draw a line here. All right. And boom, like that. Cool. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, like I said, we are trying to do something for the young people here. So we have to make it look like this drawing is coming from a young child. All right. You know, the way little kid, like the way kids do their drawings. Okay, so I'm going to move this again here and put this here and draw this here like so. And for my letter A, I'm going to make the same move and make the same move here. For the letter L, just going to draw here. And yep, that's it. We'll do the same move here. Like that. Now you see this is already looking fun. I'm sure somebody can testify to that. So I'm going to make the same move again here by, you know, drawing this here and put this here. You know what, for my L here, let's just, you know, put this down a bit. Down a bit. Like that. Okay. And for the letter S, I'm going to make the same move. Push this down and draw another shape here. But for my letter L here, I'm going to have more than, you know, one stroke. All right. Yeah, this is good. So for the letter T, you can do the same move. But here. All right. You can have here like so. And then we can also have here. Okay, let's just leave it here. Let's have it here like that. And for this is going to come like that. Okay. We can have this here. It's here. And should we just put one here? It's not bad. So let's move to something here. Let's put another one here. Okay. All right. So I'm using a graphics tablet here, but you don't really need a graphic tablet to do this. All right. You can always use your mouse and to still give it the same. You can still achieve the same effect with your mouse. All right. Yep. So you can add here. Here, no, should be here, like that, and we have our title ready. And let's take this to Photoshop. So I'm going to convert everything again to, I'm going to expand the appearance of everything, and I'm going to hit Ctrl C, and I'll go straight to Photoshop and paste this here. Now I'm going to use a smart object. Don't forget, always make sure you use a smart object, and bam, we have our title right here on our project. So I'm going to move this to somewhere around here. But I like the fact that the hand of the boy is overlapping on the title. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. So, well, please, guys, if you're trying to achieve project like this, all right, please avoid making your overlapping of picture on title. Make it avoid making it hide the title. All right. So I'm not sure I like this here. So I'm going to go back to Illustrator, and I'm going to move this to somewhere here because it's turning this, making this look like letter I. All right. And yeah, so I think I like it this way. So I'll copy it again. I hit Control C. I think I need to make this, let's just make this yellow. All right. And I'll copy this with Control C again, and I'll go back to Photoshop and paste it. So I'm going to hit OK button. Now, sorry, I'm using the wrong option. So I'll hit Control V, select Smart Object, and select the OK button. And this should be above this. And I'm going to hide this. Activate the free transform, which is Control T. And I'm going to move this to somewhere around here, like that. All right. Please, guys, I would appreciate if you can drop your message if this is making sense to you. I believe it's making sense. So if it's making sense to you, please, and please, guys, I would appreciate if you can drop a message. All right, so let's continue, guys. So I'm going to make this a bit bigger like that because I want people to really see what I have here, like that. All right. Yeah. Easy Graphics says this getting more interesting, more than expected. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. All right, so we're almost getting to the end part of this tutorial, and it's time for us to do the color grading. All right, so I'm still not feeling this gray color that I have here on my background. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to double click here. All right, and I'm going to make this a bit visible. So I'm going to just move this out. You see the advantage of converting your layer to a smart object. So I'm going to hit the OK button now, and I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. Yeah, reduce the opacity a bit. That is very important. So then I'll add I want this to be colorful, right? So I'm going to add gradient map to this. So I'm going to activate the gradient map like that, and the gradient map should be above this. And then I'm going to go to the gradient editor here and double click. And right now I'm going to pick this color from here. Now you see why, you know why our gradient map is not working? It's because we are on the layer mask of our project. So I'm going to switch to the thumbnail of my gradient map here, and I'll go straight to the gradient editor, and I'll double click here again, double click to activate the color picker, and I'm going to pick this color from here. Now you see that we have what's it called? We have our color now on our projects like that, and I'm gonna move this to somewhere around here, and I'm gonna select the OK button like that. I'll go back to the blur gallery again. I still feel like making this more visible. All right, so I'm gonna move this down like that. Now you see we can see the bouncing castle. All right, this is good, and I'm gonna select the OK button like so. All right, then I'm gonna create a new layer, and this should be above this. Select the brush tool, increase my brush size, and I'm gonna select the I'm gonna select the color picker here and switch to white here and select the OK button. Then I'm just gonna softly apply the brush to the project like that, because I know I'm gonna be adding some other stuff to the project, so I don't want anything to hide the content. All right, so I'm gonna make this a bit smaller like that, and maybe we should just rotate. I'm gonna rotate it this way. Let's see if this is going to work. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create room for my text. All right, so I'm going to move this down and move this here. Should we just move this up or move this down like that? All right. So let's see. This can come right about here. Okay. Yeah, this is good. All right. Then I still feel like making this look more purple. Let's make it look purple. All right. Give it the purple look. Yeah, this is good. All right. So then the other thing I'm going to do, because I know I'm going to be adding some other stuff to the project. So in fact, let's just start with the color grading of the pictures. All right. It's very important. Let's color grade the picture of the kids, of all these kids like that. All right. And I'll go to the hue saturation here and select the clip icon, and I'm going to reduce the, the saturation of the color on the face of the kids. All right. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, the color on the face of the kids is shouting. All right. It's too brownish. All right. So I don't want that again. And I don't want that. Not again. I don't want that. And that's the reason why I reduce the, the saturation. All right. So the other thing I'm going to do again here is I'm going to select the curve adjustment here, and I'm going to move this up like that and hit Ctrl I and select the clip icon here, select the brush tool, go to the brush settings, and I'm going to add the curve back to the face of the kids. So I'm going to start by drawing a shape here. All right, I'm applying my brush right there. Apply the brush here, and just apply it here. Make the same move here. Apply the brush right here, here, and let's see. All right, now, so the next thing I'll do is to go to the property tab under the curve adjustment, and I'll go to the mask icon here, and I'm going to fade the blur on the face of the kids. So let's see, this is the before and this is the after, and this is cool. All right, you see, we're beginning to see that joy on the face of the kids. All right, so then I'm going to add color balance, because I want to have touch of this, my background color here on the kids. All right, so I'm going to do that now by going to color balance, and I'm going to select the clip icon here, and let's make this look purplish. So I'm going to move. So let's go on the shadow. All right, it's very important. Go on the shadow, and I'm going to move this to this side here, and I'm going to move this here. Now you see we're beginning to see touch of the color on the kids. So I'm going to move this here. All right, now don't make it too much. All right, please avoid making this too much. All right, because if it's too much on the kids, you are going to destroy the project. So I'll go to curve again here and just make the picture of the kids brighter like that, and let's see what we have. And this is beautiful. All right, so the other thing I'm going to do again is I really want to separate the kids from the background. All right, because I really want the kids to capture attention more. So what I'm going to do is to create a new layer and select the text tool, and I'm going to apply the text to the project like that. And I'm going to hit, what letter can I use here? Let's use letter S. All right. And let's see, activate a free transform, make this bigger. I'm going to rotate it this way and move this here like so. Let's see if I rotate it this way. I'm going to zoom out, guys. So I'm going to rotate this and make this really big like that. Or should we use, all right, let's use letter M. I'm not feeling the letter S. Or we should use letter B. All right, let's use capital B. Okay, B. Yeah, B is fine. So activate the free transform. Let's make this smaller first, because we need to see our letter B. So we'll make this bigger, and this is going to come right about here like that. All right, then I can change the color to this. Then we can move this down here like that. All right, and hit the OK button. Then I am going to reduce the opacity a bit. Then I can create a new layer and call this a brush. Okay, let's do the brush too. I hope somebody is enjoying what I'm doing here, because it's so painful that I can't see you guys faces. So if you're actually having fun looking at what I'm doing here, I will appreciate if you can please and drop a message on just drop a message in the comment section, and I will appreciate that. So I'm going to apply this here. Okay, we need to change our flow back to 100. So I'm going to apply this here like, like that. All right, so we can even close this just like that. Okay. Okay. Easy Graphics, I see you. Kenneth said you're doing very well. Thank you, Kenneth. Stanley says this is making a lot of sense. Thank you, Stanley. SOV is saying it's making so much sense. All right, thank you. All right, so let's see. All right, I hope the project is looking interesting to you. So I'm going to add the layer mask to this because I think I over apply the brush to this side of this kit here. So I don't want this kit to be visible. So I'm just going to, move this here like that. All right. Yeah. That Joshua, I see you. Damilola Toby, I see you. All right. So I'm going to just fit this out. Now, this girl here is now looking like she's hidden. So I'm going to move her out. Oh, sorry. It's going to affect my curve here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, what can I do? Okay, see what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this and drop in here and clip this to this and clip this to this. Good. Now, the reason why I did that was because if I move the layer of this girl, it's going to affect the curve that I applied to the face to achieve the highlight. So I'm going to move this up a bit. So the reason why I'm making all this move here is because I know I'm going to be adding texts, all right, to the project. So I'm trying to create room for, my text. All right. So yeah. So this is good. So then I'm going to add something that depicts that play here. All right. So I'm just going to draw something like a stroke here. Here. No, sorry. I need to be on shape here. So just draw something like a stroke to, to depict that font here. Right. Like that. And I'm going to make my stroke more wider. And I'll go under my option here and select dash. Then this should be white like that. All right, then I think this is looking too big. How many of you agree with me? It's looking too big, so I'm just going to reduce it a bit like that and reduce the opacity just like so. All right, and this can come, let's say, somewhere here. All right, so I'm trying to make the stroke smooth like that. So what I'm doing, so there's something I want to teach you guys. All right, you see, when I'm working on project for young kids, like young people like this, the type of element you add to the project matters. All right, the type of element you add. So I'm trying to create a pattern here with most of the things that you see on kids storybooks. In fact, when you check out storybooks for young people, you see all this type of effect on it. So this idea of me adding this is from one of the storybooks that I've seen from for kids. All right, and like what I always say to you guys, inspiration for graphic design comes from everywhere. All right, so whenever you are asked to work on any project, please understand the age group of the viewers. All right, know the things that you mostly see on what they mostly play with. All right, and that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing here now. I know so many of you agree with me on this. So many of you might have, I'm sure you've all seen this effect here on Storybook for Kids. And that's the reason why I'm, repeating the same elements here on this project. All right. So should we just move this to somewhere here, and let's make this go behind this. All right. And that's that. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's add the other text to this. We have activities include bouncy castle. How am I saying bounce? It should be bouncy castle, not bounce castle. Anyway, so I'm going to copy that and paste here. So I just want to test if the space I created for my text is okay. All right. So I'm going to make this smaller, and this can come under this like that. Make this really small. All right, I'm still going to make it big. I'm just trying to see what is best for the project. Okay, then let's see if I go under the property tab here and look for something more simple. All right, simple that can go for kids. Let me see. So when you're making the text smaller, please avoid using playful type. All right, because if you do, you're going to affect the flow of reading, and it's not going to make the project visible. All right, now I know the project is for, it's not going to make the content visible. All right, the information visible. Now, yeah, the project is for young people, but I want you to know that the people who are going to read the information on this project they are adults. All right, but why we are making it look like it's for young people is so that when the adults see it, they know, okay, this is for my kids, or it's for people, if it's for young people. All right, and that's why I'm trying my best to do something that is more visible. Creating a project that the content is visible and fun. All right, so I'm still looking for something I can use here. I prefer a narrow type, a simple narrow type that is not too fat. All right, that's what I'm looking for here. I wanted to say, can somebody help me with the right font to use? But sorry, I've forgotten that you guys can't. You can't use your microphone here. It's a live meeting. So I'm going to scroll down to where I have, let's say, nope. This part is one of the most annoying parts in graphic design, looking for the right font to use. I know so many of you can agree with me. If you agree with me on this, please, I would appreciate if you can drop a message and say yes. The part of looking for the right fonts, the font that's going to capture, that's going to help the project. So let's see. I actually like this slab font here. Let's see if I use this gel slab. I don't want it to look bold. I just want medium. If I make this bigger, let me see the people that agree with me. Let's see. Who are the people that agree with me? Yes. Dynamic concept say yes. So I'm going to double click on this. All right. And I'm going to break this by hitting the enter key. Then activity include should be bolder. All right. And yep. So we can make this a bit smaller. So this is too tiny. All right. It's too tiny. Yeah, I know that the rider is long, but since the client said she wants it there, that means we'll have to find a way to make it work. All right, so let's see if I move this. So we have to find a way to, I'm going to delete this first. So we need to find a way to make this work. So let's see if I move this. No, that's not the plan. If I move this up or down, or better still, let's just move everything here. Let's move everything down aside from the title. Move this down like that. All right. And if I move this up here and make this centralized. Okay. I'm trying not to make it two lines, because making it two lines is not going to help. So let's see if I push the gain. No. Let's centralize it and select this color here. Okay, so I may have to look for another type, because this is it's taking space. So I'm going to look for something narrow that is visible. So I'm going to scroll down. So the way you use type also, you use type when you notice that the information is taking more space. All right, let's say the information that you're trying to apply the character to is taking space. So you have to find a way to use it, to use character that will allow room for space. All right, and the content will still be visible. Is this visible? So if I'm going to use this, so what I may have to do is I may have to let's see. All right, can we use this? Let's see if I use this. All right, and make it cut. So if I'm going to use this, that means I may have to add space. All right, between the information, because visibility is key in graphic design. Visibility is key, guys. So I'm going to move this down. Yep. And I'm going to make this bigger. Like that. And let's see if we move this up here and move the title down. Okay, see what we're going to do, guys. We may have to change the layout. So we can move this down here. Change the color to white. Don't worry, guys. We're going to fix that later. Don't worry. I know it's not really visible, but don't worry. I'm going to fix it. So I'm just trying to see what layout is best for what I'm doing here. So I'm trying to make sure that the content is visible. And I'm trying to make sure that I still have that playful look on the projects. All right. So I'm going to change this to the dates. All right. So I'll copy that and paste this here and make this bigger like that. And let's see if we move this to somewhere here. Okay. Okay. And okay, so what we're going to do is we may have to change the layout of these kits. Yeah. So if I move this up and move this dude down, this down a bit, and because I really want my title to go in more. All right, like that. All right, so this dude still need to go down a bit. Okay, so then the date is going to come right here, and I can make this bigger. So we can copy the day and paste this here, and the event time is going to be 2 p.m. like that. And we can close the space here. All right. and make this a bit bigger like that, and move this up like so. We can move this down a bit and move this down here like that. And so, like I said, visibility is very key here, right? So I'm trying to make sure that I don't affect the visibility of the projects. I mean, the visibility of the content. All right. So we can just play here by changing the color of this to red like that. And this can move up here a bit like so. And so we can put this text now. So this can come. So I have this information I'm about to paste now. So this can come under the title. Okay. Don't worry. We're going to fix that also. Because I know some of you are wondering, hey, Caesar, are you sure this your layout is okay? Don't worry. I'm going to fix it. I can't be a design instructor and not do what is right on my project. Okay. So I'm going to move this down and move this and okay, see what we're going to do. I actually like the fact that the hand of the kids is overlapping on the title. So for this, what I can do is I can move this down and move this down like that. All right. And let's see if I position this somewhere around here. And then we now have a shape here. But this shape will now have the color from, let's pick this color from here. So it should be this. And this can now have this. I mean, sorry, it should be no color. So I'll make a copy of this and activate the free transform on this and make this smaller. And we can move this to this color here and change this to 3 and use the dash here like that. And I'm going to position this up here like that. And we can make this smaller. Then we now need to play with the layouts. So this should come down and this should come here. This should come down. And we can make this bigger like that. I wish I can change this to something bold. Oh, there's no option for that. All right. So let's see if I make it white. Will it work? Is white working? Yeah, I think it's working. So let's play. I'm going to put this in a group and call this kids wear. All right. And I'm going to rotate this like that. And let's see. I really want to play with this. So I want to make character costume this color. All right. So I want people to know that there's something going on there. All right. So our project is still making sense. I'm sure you guys agree with me. If you do, please let me hear you say yes, sir. Okay. So we can move this up here and move this here like that. Oh, yeah, it should be here. So right now we can have, let's see, what can we have here? Let's see if I make this one line. Is it going to work? I'll make it smaller. Is it going to work? Let's see. I'm still trying to check what layout is best for this. All right, so I'm going to move this up again. No. Okay. We can move this here, make this smaller. That let's see. I'll make it 100. Like that, and this here. I know you guys can agree with me that to be a designer is work. Oh my God. All right. So if I move this down a bit like that, all right. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure there's enough room for white space so that people can see the information that I have on the project. I'm trying not to make it too busy to the point where it's going to be difficult for them to navigate through the information on the project. Okay. And that's why it's taking me time to decide on what I think, what is best for the project. All right. So I'm going to close this space here. All right. And trust me, this guy is not going to leave this side here. I'm not going to remove this from here. It's going to remain here. All right. But don't worry. I'm going to fix the making it visible. All right. So this is going to come right here. Let's centralize this. And I'm going to add space to this and make it a bit smaller. Okay. Yeah. So this is good. All right. So for the dates, which is the last part here, I hope you guys can still hear me. I hope every one of you can still hear me. Please, if you can hear me, I would appreciate it if you can drop a message and say, yes, we can still hear you, boss. So for the dates, right? The dates. For the dates. Okay, what if we do this? If I make a copy of this and place this somewhere here and rotate this way. All right. So we can have two. Yeah, still the same shape. And this comes down. Then we have this behind the layer of this girl here. And this girl moves. The girl moves in a bit. All right. Then we now have our date and time inside that shape. I hope this is going to work. So if I rotate this again like that, and this comes down here, so we need to move this in, and the girl needs to go in a bit with a small size like that. All right. Yep. And let's see what we have now. So we can put, let's see if we put the date there and see if that's going to work. So if I put the date inside that shape there, is the date going to work there? I hope so. So I'm going to move this down and move this down. And let's see. Take out from. Okay. Let's see if I move this down. And we can change this to this color like that. All right. Another cool thing we can do here is to change this to bebas. And I'll tell you why this is going to work. You know, there are times where you can use two different characters, and people will not know, people won't notice that they are different characters because they have similar, you know, style with different stroke. So right now, if you look at this type that I have here, it looks more like slim bebas. All right. And I'm going to make this bigger. So the reason why I did not change this to bebas is because, you know, there's this look, this making type the information visible that I noticed on this particular, you know, character here. And if I repeat the same character here, all right, is affecting the hierarchy. So I decided to, because we don't have the bold version of this character that I have here. All right. So I decided to use Berbers because, you know, we have the bold version of it. Now, if I use the regular version of Berbers here, it's still going to work. But there's something I noticed on this character here that is really good for reading sake. Although Berbers is also good for reading, all right, you can also use it for small font size or small information, all right. But there's this you know, this space I'm looking for that I notice on this particular one that I have here, all right. So I'm going to move this down like that and move this up, you know, like so. And you see we already have our information on the shape. So let's see if we can I'm going to try and see if I play with another color, if it's still going to work. So if I use this or this, I think it's looking too playful now. So let's just leave it as the green that we have to achieve repetition there. All right. Then let's see what else are we going to do now. So now that we've found space for our date, I'm not going to use this again. So I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to delete it. Bam, bye bye, bro. So then for this, let's make this a bit more bigger like that. All right. So let's add more font to this. Let's add more font to this. So there's one image I'm going to add to this now to really spice this up. But before I do that, all right, let's just add that. Let's make this more visible. All right, this information here needs to be visible. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer, select the brush tool, pick this color from here, and I'm going to apply this here because I really want this to be visible. But please, I still want touch of the kit's body to be visible. All right, so I'm just going to move this here, you know, like that. And see, we're already having this unique looking project here. All right. So for this here, for this shape here, I'm going to move this up to somewhere here and reduce the opacity a bit more. All right. Now this is good. Okay. What else can we do here? So for my background, all right, I'm thinking of moving this up again and making it a bit visible. All right. Yep. Then let's start playing with the balls, So I'm going to drag this and drop here, and I'm going to draw a shape around the balls. Or let's see if we can use the quick selection button here to select all the objects. I hope this works. If it's not going to work, it's not working. So I'm going to draw the shape around. I'm going to draw a shape around the balls to crop the balls out. So I'll drop this here and hit Ctrl J. So I'm holding down Shift as I drag. All right. So I'm going to select this again, Ctrl J. Ctrl J. All right. And for the last color, which is the red, we are going to use Ctrl and J. Good. So I'm going to drag this and drop here. Should be here. All right. Convert it to a smart object, and this can come right here. Then the next ball, which is this, drag, drop, convert to a smart object, and this can come right here. This can be this big, and it can come right here. Now notice the way I'm placing the balls. I'm trying as much as possible not to make it cover the title, because if it covered the title, it's going to destroy the project. All right, it's not good. It's going to make it difficult for people to read the information that you have on it. So this can come We can actually have this behind the kids. All right, and it can come right about here. Okay, then do we still have one more color? Yeah, this. So this can come here like so. Okay, now if you look at the project now, you notice that we're having this font already on the project. So we can move this here like that. So the idea is to make it look like the balls are dropping from the upper part of the frame here. And this, I'm going to position this here. We can even make this smaller. So making the balls have different sizes is what we call dynamic layout in dynamic placement, excuse me, in graphic design. So I'll move this here. So I want to make it look like this is close to the camera. So I'll go to filter, blur gallery, and select the field blur here. And we can move this up like that and select the OK button. So for this, we can make a copy of this. All right, I'll convert it to a smart object. And I'll hold on Alt and duplicate the field blur that I applied to the yellow ball and apply it to the blue ball here. And this, and this can come here. In fact, this particular one can be bigger like that. And it can come right about here. It's looking too big, so I'll make this a bit smaller. We can move this to somewhere here like that. So for this, let's move this down, and this should be behind, it should be here. And we can make this bigger like that, and it can come down here, and it will still work, guys. It will still work. All right, it's still not affecting the flow of reading. People can still see it. Okay, then what else can we do? For the red, make a copy, make this also bigger, and hold on Alt and apply the field blur to this, and this can come right there. All right, then for the balls, can make them smaller. Okay, can make this smaller. This can come here, and this can come here like that. And this information here, I'm thinking of making it a bit smaller. So I'm going to shift select these two layers here and make this a bit smaller and move this down. All right, so the reason why I decided to do that is because now I noticed we are beginning to have, we have too much of all this bouncing this ball around the project. All right, and me making my information too close to each other is going to really affect the it's going to affect the white space. All right, so that's the reason why I decided to make that smaller. Okay, so this can come right here. All right, and let's see, what else do we need to do? What else do we need to do, or what do we need to take out? So let's see if we take out some of the things that I added to the project and see if it's going to help the projects. Let's see. Yeah, I think taking it out helped. So I'm going to move, let's see, or should we just add it back and move this to somewhere here like that? Okay, and this also can move to somewhere here like that. Okay, yep. And let's see, I think we are good now, guys. We are good. We are good. Yep, so this is the final project, guys. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this training. So the logo comes here. For those of you that want to know where the logo is going to, how we're going to place the logo. So you can place the logo here and it will still work. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to support me, please share this with other creatives and subscribe if you have not. All right, so I have other projects I'm going to be doing live with you guys, so I advise you to remember to check the notification bell so you get notified anytime I go live. All right, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. I love you all, guys.